Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we'll be doing the trade targets for round 17 of the AFL fantasy season, and I do think there are some options on the cheap this week. Some options that I might have to wait a week to necessarily go for when I do my team reveal that you'll see later today. But I definitely do think that there are options here that you guys can go for. There's also some rookies to go for as well, depending on your price range, that are decent options as well. So anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's jump into this video. So if you don't have him, I'd suggest going and grabbing up Tom McCarthy. He's 39% owned, and I know that there's a lot of dead teams in the community, etc. So a lot of people won't be necessarily grabbing him up, but so that number isn't going to get into sort of the 70-80% range, even though it will be sort of already in that 70-80% range for anyone that's actively playing. But yeah, he's been outstanding if you don't have him already. Harry Ralston, I think, is the number one rookie of the week just because of back-to-back decent performances, and does come up against the Eagles where he could put on a decent score. He could get a good game time and really put on a decent score. And so I think he's a guy that could easily, in 2-3 weeks worth, go up. Let's even just look at these random projections here. That's not going to give you any way in shape and form of actually giving you a projection that is good. So let's go to here. And you may have got a sneaky pick at who I was looking at for potential trade-ins. If we just go, he's going to go 75, just being moderate. He goes up 77k, 76, then 63k. If we say he's going to do a mad thing and go 90, then that's up 89k, 416k. So I could easily see him going somewhere in that range there and going up to 410k. And then suddenly you're looking at a guy that could potentially be 500k in 2 weeks' time. I mean, this off 90s, if we just scale this back down, and I'm going to do this through this and then go and put this at an 85. If we put a semi-realistic 85, 65, 65, he ends up going to 485k and then 538k in the first 3 weeks, respectively. Which, if you think about that, that's a really, really good cash gen from 327. So that is over 200k of cash gen in 3 weeks, which is a really, really good amount. So I think he is the easy, obvious pick rookie of the week there. And then he has Geelong and Essendon in the next couple of weeks as well, where you'd expect him to put up all right numbers. Dua is injured. Archer May, I just don't rate key forwards at this point, especially youngsters playing in their first couple of games. I know he had a decent game of a 74 and should be getting games throughout the rest of the year. But yeah, I just have a feeling he's going to drop score really poor ones, and I don't think you want him on your field. So, and a lot of us are trying to, well, even just on the bench as well. I don't know if if there's going to be enough quick cash gen there that you're really hunting for. Liddy, 61 last all week, and looks to be having a really good start to his career, and I suspect he's probably going to go 60, 65 anyway for the rest of the year, which will be decent enough cash gen. This has him going 54s and gaining a further 90, 117k in 3 weeks, which is massive cash gen for 357k. I could see him getting up towards that 500, 550, and then you trade him down to a 230k rookie, and you suddenly have 250, 300k to be able to upgrade quite easily another player. Boyd isn't going to play. Vizentini, there's doubts whether he actually plays coming off of the bye. It will be interesting. Madden, there's also doubts if he'll actually play or not, if they'll just bring Briggs straight back in. So that'll be interesting. Wouldn't be touching those two with that uncertainty, especially because it could flip in a week if he plays, if they play this week anyway. Ramsden, probably just too expensive for a forward. 377k, but has put up some decent scores in back-to-back games. And then that's pretty much it for rookies. I mean, Jasper Alger is probably the last one who played as I'm pretty sure, sub in his opening game. 10 points and then came out in his second game and kicked 2 for a 60-pointer. So he's one that you could also look at, but then again, also I wouldn't be looking at him on field either because, yeah, that's not going to work out. Haynes, Lorenz, Sin, etc., Jackson, Dawson, etc. So yeah, no one there really. And then if we go to also the coach's choice here and we go ins, one of the things that I think I need to just look quickly is who are people bringing in as forwards. They're bringing in basically all the rookies. Dan Curtin's definitely a shout, but then again at 659k, I think people are chasing the points here rather than actually just chasing the value out there that's still out there. Luke Jackson seems an obvious trade in as well. McRae, a lot of people trading him in. Tyru at he's put up 49s and 48, so yeah, 350k, don't think so. Myers and Martin are also some obvious trade-ins in the forward line as well. At 991k for Myers is a decent trade in there. So then we move on to, I guess, just in general, we'll go through the rucks. Luke Jackson and Brodie Grundy are pretty good trade-ins, both playing each other this week. Will be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I still think that the likes of Luke Jackson can just put up decent scores throughout the year. He's done that. His lowest is a 66 and 74. And then it's 90 plus scores, which is just ultra consistent, averaging almost 100. Has almost been one of the best forwards to have, even though he's only played 12 games. He's just, looked really, really good in every game that he's pretty much played, aside from probably this St. Kilda game and the injury game here, where he probably was on track for like probably a 90 or so, I would say, against the Dogs. So if you take that injury game out, he's probably averaging about 101, 102. So that just shows how good he's been this year. And then Brodie Grundy has absolutely torn it up in the last couple of weeks. You can see he has gone in the last 5. I'm pretty sure he's averaging 131 last 5 and 132 last 3. And I've gotten him for a 121, 137. I've got him to 258 across 2 weeks that I've had him. And that would have been a pretty good investment there. And now he's got Fremantle, where I'm pretty sure they are one of the... Let's just look. This is something that I should really be looking at a little bit more, as we can see here. Okay, 1 second. Let me actually log this in for you guys so that I can actually grab it up. Actually, able to load this up here. We can go to, not that one, we can go to this one, and we can go to the ruck line and look at the last 10 games. You'll see Freo are actually on minus 0.06. Marshall was positive, Cherry wasn't, Gawn wasn't, Vincentini was, Briggs was, and Darcy Cameron and Royal Marshall again. So that's interesting that they're a net neutral, I would say, almost. Basically, you can see most, more times than not. So Brodie Grundy probably isn't the best matchup for him this week. But if you also look at the likes of Sydney, in terms of a ruck matchup, they are minus 5.82 in the last little bit. Tim English did get injured. Vincentini is a rookie. I think he got subbed out. Or was it Sweet that got subbed out? Sorry. And then Vincentini played on. Nankervis went all right. Riley O'Brien went all right. And Max Gawn and Todd Goldstein. Max Gawn was back when I don't even think the likes of Brodie Grundy was having that good of a form in that. Oh, he went 134 against them. So he still played pretty well. The Rucks just dominated that. So in a game that's probably... I mean, it's going to be played on, I believe do they have the Sunday game? I'll have to double check that because the weather has been pretty poor this week in Sydney. So for them, what day do they have it? They've got the early Sunday game, and I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a dry game, which will be good rather than the wet we've had all week this week. Sunday is supposed to be when the game time is, there's not supposed to be any rain, which is a good thing because that would have been annoying, but the ground's still pretty poor, so I wouldn't be surprised if you still do see both rucks put up pretty decent numbers in that game as well, just because I have a feeling there will be a lot of slipping, a lot of this and a lot of that, and a lot of stoppages there. So that's the reason for the ruck department. Who are people trading out? Madden, Reed, De Koning, etc. Even some people trading out Tristan Cherry. Don't know about that, but I can slightly understand it to a certain degree. I'd have to look at what I would want to do, but I don't think I'd want to trade out necessarily Cherry, to be honest with you, because There's not many rucks that I think have a really clean run if we just look at it here. Whereas these were the heat maps for Flanders, who we'll get into. But yeah, I don't think there's any rucks that I really like in terms of the season long. Let's look at this one here and go to the ruck department here. You'll see that the season long is basically Geelong, Sydney, Richmond, St Kilda. Maybe you go to someone like a Rowan Marshall potentially. What's Rowan Marshall priced at? If we just go to ins, I think he'll be here. Rowan Marshall is basically priced at the same price as Tristan Cherry. So that would be almost a straight swap there. Darcy Cameron is priced at around about the same price. You're getting a little bit cheaper. So there isn't many that I actually really like that are much cheaper, I would say, than the likes of a Tristan Cherry. So I would probably just hold fat there with that one. Even though if we look quickly, get rid of all these ones, we don't need them anymore. If we look quickly at their run for the rest of the year, North Melbourne, it's 1.58. And he does come up against two really tough opponents and then has a clean run for a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'd just be too scared that if you drop, that if you trade him out, that he's going to go large and then it's hard to get him back in 2-3 weeks time. So yeah, that's the reason why I'd not do that. So moving on to the next one, the midfielders. Ralston, Caldwell, I think is, I think a lot of people are probably going on Caldwell a little bit too late and trying to chase his last 5 that he's had of 117.8. I know that we jumped on him, I want to say it was round 12. We jumped on him, I want to say it was here, and have had a really good time in that. It might have even been round 13 that we jumped on him, but yeah, we've had a really good time with him. So I think a lot of people chasing that. Tom Green has the easy matchup and is 985k. So I can see a lot of people trying to chase the points there because, yeah, he's probably going to have a really good run of it there as well. So that's why you'd probably be looking at potentially grabbing him up. And then I can see Flanders as well. The reasoning behind Flanders, if we just grab up the last 10 for inside mids and go, who is Flanders playing? He's playing the Essendon Bombers. If we go here, Essendon are a plus 5.36. If we go to inside mids, even though he isn't really playing an inside mid, I'll show you sort of what I'm seeing with him because he sort of is floating wherever. If we go to Gold Coast, they're a minus 1.27. He has a Essendon, Collingwood, so he has a rough matchup to a certain extent, but he's so underpriced. And if we go to, he's not even a designated kicker, but if we sort of look at that as well, you'll see that Gold Coast do a minus 0.34. So he's sort of this, I would say almost a wing defense as well, is probably the best characteristic for him as well. And they're still a minus 2.34. So he's not got the quote unquote best run for difference makers. But then again, you look at him and you go 679k and he's averaging 72 in his last 5, 70 in his last 3. But if you look at his last couple here, 90 and 88, he also had this really good start to the year of an 89 and a 99. I think there's definitely value there. I'm just going to probably wait another week just to see because I think his role is changing. I just want to definitely watch it more closely. But if you wanted to jump on, I think this is a week that you can do that. I just have other needs to jump onto first. Then, Errol Goulden, understand this one as well. Probably I'm going to wait another week because Sydney's run starts to really open up a little bit more after this Freo game. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he is the most traded in guy next week because he goes 120 and then stays at 1.066 mil. And a lot of people are just looking at that going, I want that. So, yeah, I think a lot of people will look at him next week. I will be probably in the similar boat. And then you have Colby McKercher. I wish I could grab this up, but I just don't. It's hard to grab him up, to be honest with you, just because you look at him and you go, yeah, 763k. But it looks like he's potentially playing in the forward line. I also just want to check one guy out in terms of one guy that I just want to, where are we looking at? Not midfielders, I want forwards. Toby Green, 733k. He went 113 last week. Is he a guy that you're willing to risk it? Got injured in this game. 62 the week before, 133, 92% for a 66. Has the Eagles, the Cats and stuff like that. I'm actually just going to quickly check this because this could change everything up. If we go to general forwards, he's got this matchup, so he's actually got a really good run. And then we go inside mids as well. And we go GWS. He's got a really good run. I actually think, change all this. I think he's the value player of the week. I know it sounds absolutely dumb to say this, but I think he's got really, really good value. He's playing against West Coast where he averages 93. He then comes up against the Geelong Cats where he averages 86 against. And then he comes up against Sydney where he averages 82 against, but he's had a lot of high range games against them as well. So I think he's the one to actually go for, and I'm going to see if I can maneuver plans around to make it so that I can grab that up, because maybe I could go Cherry to a Jackson and then also go I don't know, a Lord to a Green or something like that. That could be a way that I go or something. But yeah, we'll see how I go. But I think that's some type of maneuver that I want to try and explore and see how I can get around it, I guess, in a certain degree. We'll just see how it works out. And so, yeah, if we go back to midfielders, get rid of this this search here, and then go down further. Yeah, what I was saying about McKercher before I interrupted myself was, it's hard. It's hard to go for him, even with this form, just because of the words of Alistair Clarkson. If Alistair Clarkson hadn't said, we are going to put Colby McKercher potentially in a different position, I think he'd be one of the most traded in players this week, because a lot of people already have him, but I think a lot of people want to just get him. But the problem is that he's been said to be lining up in the forward line, even though he should be playing in the back line. I don't know why he's playing up forward where he's just going to do nothing and sort of has had already this sort of exposure here, this game here, these sort of runs here where he had 4 games of about 220 points. Just doesn't work. Put him down back, simply put. Beau Allen, Max Holmes, understand all these guys as midfield trade-ins as well. Jack McRae, yep, understand that as well. Dunkley, Wilson, etc. and Liddy. So then we go to the defenders here, and Sam Flanders is the number 1 traded in guy, 679k. You could go something, and I said this before, you could go to mid prices here, just trying to bridge the gap quickly with Flanders. Dawson, don't really understand this. He's played 1 game. I think, is that just defenders being lightly traded in? Looks like only 2k trade-ins there. McKercher, understand that. Beau Allen is priced at 263k. You could actually trade him in just because he's starting to actually get games and full games. And I think he's a guy that could consistently score some 40s and 50s and just, I mean, he's a really, really low price guy. But I just think that guys like Ralston are probably going to be better value because they're going to be able to actually be sort of semi-fieldable scores. It's not going to help too much with Ralston. It's probably going to be 20-30 points, but for 60k to get 20-30 points over possibly 2-3 weeks more is a lot better outcome. Holmes, Tyrone Martin, Wilson, etc. And then I really do actually like the likes of Lockie Ash this week, just because of no Whitfield. I think that he's going to be able to score sort of around that 120, 130 marker and come home really, really well because of that. He's been ultra consistent outside of basically 1 game, 89 as a secondary low, and only 4 scores under 100, and 1 of them and 3 of them are 89 above. So yeah, outside of that 1 game in round 1 where he just didn't touch the ball, he's been ultra good, and a guy that a lot of people started the year with and have since gotten rid of, but really you should have been holding him because he's the 12th ranked player in terms of points for the year. So he would have been a really, really good start at 750k and holding him there, because even if you look at his 14, if you take out the 125 and replace it with the 60, he'd still be at around about 100 average, which I'm pretty sure is still around the top 20 or so scorers for the year. If I just quickly try and grab someone up. Yeah, I'd have as a guess here. What's Josh Dacos? 95.3. Is there anyone around that 100 marker that I can look at? I don't think so. I'm grabbing all 95s rather than 100 guys. Jack Sinclair. Yeah, Jack Sinclair, 25 ranked for a 99.1, and he'd be a good 15, 20 points above him. So yeah, he'd be still probably in that sort of top 20. Would the likes of who are we talking about here? The likes of Lachie Ash, even if you get rid of that first game, that opening round game that doesn't count, and replace it with a 60. So that pretty much is the video there. Let's just look quickly overall at players getting traded out. Ned Long, yep, probably done his duty now. An 80, he's probably starting to fall behind the curve, I would say, as well. Yeah, just struggling to really get those big, bulky numbers that you saw with this huge game of 29 touch, 14 tackle game. Davidson's out. Matt Roberts is struggling to get to sort of fieldable scores at this point now. Really is struggling. And then you've got O'Sullivan, Clark, Johnson, Clark, etc. They may even be on the out as well. So we'll see what I end up going with. But it may be something a little bit rogue, I would say. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. But anyway, that is the video there. If you did enjoy, I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be the Supercoach version of this. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.